Hey guys, what is going on? This is Pantsar Dragon, and today we'll be doing a little video on the top 5 best junglers for solo queue as of patch 6.9. Now my good friend Sunny Explosion helped me with giving me this idea, and this is how it kinda went. Hey Sunny, I need a video idea. Can you please help me?
Yeah, I think you should do a video on the top 5 junglers.
Oh, cool. What was I supposed to say next?
You're so smart.
Oh yeah, you're so fucking smart. Also, what do you think? What do you think of Discord?
I think it's really, really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, bye. You heard it from us, folks. Discord is a really awesome program. You guys can check it out in the description below. Anyways, so a lot of you guys have been anticipating this video for a while, as it's basically a new season, and the last time we did this video was in 6.6, and honestly a lot of reworked or buffed champs have been introduced, and there are some item changes that definitely shift the meta a little bit. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so coming at number 5 is gonna be Rek'Sai. So Rek'Sai got an indirect buff with the Cinderhawk being buffed, as it's very close to what a Sunfire Cape does, since they'll both deal the same amount of damage when the champion using the item hits level 18. So yeah, basically all Cinderhawk jungler users have been buffed, and maybe even some junglers like Gragas are going to Cinderhawk. But going back and talking about Rek'Sai, in the eyes of a lot of pros, she's been good for a while. And now with this buff, she's definitely going to be a little bit stronger. In my opinion, I didn't feel that she was too great before this indirect buff, but now I feel like she's alright and a pretty decent champion. So that's why I'm putting her at number 5. Although, I feel like she might be a little bit lower, but I think I have to play a little bit more games to see if I see any champions that are stronger than her. But yeah, basically, she's an early game pressure jungler, she's got really good ganks, a lot of mobility, and good skirmishing. So yeah, just being decently strong in early game makes her really nice, and she also scales pretty well into the mid game and late game since she is going tank. Now here's going to be the recommended build for her. You could go Titanic Hydra after Cinderhawk if you think you're going to be doing a little carrying, but if you don't think you're going to be doing a little carrying, try going more of a utility tank build. Next up, coming at number 4, is going to be Graves. Alright, so I feel like he got a nerf in 6.8 with the changes to how his passive works and the shotgun, and I think he has better crits, but I'm not entirely sure, but his auto attacks are a little bit weaker. Overall, he's still going to be Graves, he's still going to be really strong, like a bruiser, tank, AD carry, champion, I don't know what the hell he is, but yeah, he's still Graves and he's still probably going to be good. Although I think he found his home in the jungle instead of the top lane, as he just has, well, great clears. He's also got a good finisher with his ultimate to finish off low hit point targets, and he's also great against short range champions because he can kite them and also deal a lot of damage to people who are in front of him. And yeah, he's basically good at all points of the game. Now here's going to be the recommended build for him, just going an AD carry damage reduction build, very nice on him. Personally, I am contemplating of going Warlord's Bloodlust, but that is useless when you're doing your jungle clears, and is also only good when you're ahead. Next up at number 3 is going to be Kindred. Alright, so yes, I do know she got nerfed in this patch, but the Blood Razor on her is actually an indirect buff. I had this one comment on my channel that said Devour was better on her. Well, to clarify, Sated Devour only worked every 4th hit on ranged champions. Second off, Devour did magic damage, so building armor penetration on Kindred was not as effective as it is now, since now everything she does is physical damage. So that's why this new Blood Razor is better on her, especially now since she's going to be doing current percent health damage and maximum percent health damage also. So she's going to be a tank shredder. And now talking about herself and why she's good, it's because she's got a great early game. Although it has been nerfed in this patch since they reduced her Q's cooldown when you activate your W to every 4 seconds, and then when you get the max rank it's actually 2 seconds, but they compensated that with giving her W 50% more damage to monsters. But you can definitely feel in the early game that you're a little bit weaker since you cannot bunny hop all over the jungle and when you're ganking lanes, but everything becomes normal once you hit level 9. Also, another reason why she's pretty good is she has an ultimate that's really good when you're winning because it'll save a lot of lives, and it's up to you whenever to use your ultimate, or say if you're losing, then of course you can definitely stall for a bit and see if you can do some burst damage to catch people off guard when your circle ends. Now here is going to be the recommended build for her. Definitely try an emphasis on the armor penetration, and we're a little bit more attack speed oriented, so we do go Fervor of Battle. Alright, so next up at number 2 is going to be Nidalee. I think she's still a cunt. Yeah, so there's several reasons why she's still a cunt, and that's because she has a good early game. Her ganks are really nice. You land that spear, you get 2 gap closers with your W, plus a decent amount of burst damage. You'll have insane clear speeds after level 6, due to Cougar Form's W giving you insane mobility, while also Cougar Form giving you a bunch of damage. Like, you'll probably see her level 11 just as your laners hit level 11. That's how strong it is, and combine that with early game presence, that's gonna be a really strong jungler. I guess the only thing that's bad about her is her late game and how she kind of falls off, but she's just super snowbally right now. And I mean, if you're a good player, you can probably snowball the game as her and just carry the early game and probably win the game off that. One of the sad parts of Nidalee being in the meta is I can't play her. In high elo, I am not as good as other Nidalee players, so I tend to play other champions. But before we get to the number 1 spot, here is a recommended build for Nidalee. You know, you've probably seen this build a lot where you build Runic Echoes and Ryler's Crystal Scepter. I think it's just so good because how Runic Echoes is kind of delayed, so you get your initial slow, then you get another slow off Luna's Echo with the popping of the 3 bubbles, and so the utility is actually really nice, and I really like this build on a lot of AP junglers. Alright, so fuck this bitch, we're going to be going on to the number 1 spot, and that's going to be Fiddlesticks. So Fiddlesticks, I already made a guide on him, and he's really strong right now, and probably maybe kind of OP. Now, I got this comment that said some of the things about Fiddlesticks on how it was nerfed, or how some of the things that they did to Fiddlesticks are arguable and not really too much impactful. You can pause it to see some of his points, but I'm going to debunk some of the things he said. And first off, his passive. So yes, 10 magic resist was really nice to nuking enemies and straight up just killing them. But this new passive is really strong because not only does it work in teamfights, it works in the jungle. Let's say you're just draining a camp and then you finish it. Okay, there's your like 25 or 40% movement speed buff for about 1.5 seconds, and yeah, it's helpful. It does help your clears, and in that way, it does help you. Now, let's say you're in a team fight and you're draining someone. After your drain, you get a big movement speed boost, and you can reposition yourself where you can retreat and wait for your cooldowns or go ahead and try and chase the people down. And this buff basically makes Fiddlesticks really slippery and also makes his ultimate way better. Now obviously Q is a nerf, but his W, that's not a nerf at all, because when have you ever gotten a drain that was, 5 seconds long on someone? That doesn't really happen often, and also Fiddlesticks isn't one to build a lot of CDR, so I mean, you can't have permanent drain on someone. But here's the thing also, why the fuck would anyone want to be one of Fiddlesticks if they don't have any CC to stop his draining, No one is going to stand while Fiddlesticks drains them, so dealing someone is not much of a big deal. And I mean, you're probably going to kill them if you deal someone, since you're going to start off with your ultimate and then drain them, right? Or maybe not. Either way, his dealing power is all-in power, and yeah, hopefully that kind of helps you understand why he's kind of OP right now, and why he's like the number 1 jungler. But yeah, he's got good sustain, he gets really fast later on in teamfights, and he's just super annoying. Yeah, that's about it. So here's the recommended build for Fiddlesticks. If you want a more in-depth guide on him, check out this card that you probably see in the top right corner of this video. Alright, so I'm going to be doing one honorable mention and talking about a little something, and that champion is going to be Malzahar. So Malzahar is going to get a hotfix really soon, or it's already happened. In this hotfix, he got these changes. Now, I'm not 100% sure about how the mana changes will affect him, but 25% less damage on his W to monsters, that's going to affect his clearing speed, and that's what he's kind of broken at. I think he's still going to be a great jungler, but maybe not top 5, maybe honorable mention. I don't know. I don't really want to say anything too much on him until I've seen him after this hotfix, so let's just leave him at, an honorable mention. But if he never got this hotfix, he'd definitely be the number 1 jungler. Now here is a recommended build for him. If you want a more in-depth guide on him, you can check out this guide right here. Just like the Fiddlesticks, there's going to be a card in the top right corner, or suggested, or whatever you want to call it. The reason I call it a card is because that's what it's actually called on my little, video setup thing. So yeah. Click it if you want to see more Malzahar. Now, when I was talking about Rek'Sai, I showed a little picture where Cinderhulk got buffed and is equivalent to a Sunfire Cape. So this means that all Cinderhulk junglers have been buffed, and you'll see maybe Gragas getting a Cinderhulk, or even tank junglers coming out more and just showing you how strong they are. Right now in higher elo, it's all about those early game junglers, but in lower elo and all that stuff, Cinderhulk junglers are really good right now. They'll probably show up in competitive play soon, but we'll just have to wait and see for the next patch. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, my last jungler tier list video, I had some questions asking how good a certain champion was, and here's some of my opinions on, well, these champions. So first off, Toma Jellic asks, how about Rengar? To be honest, I really don't like him after the nerfs he received, but I made a video where Rengar doesn't have to complete the jungle item anymore, and now he can just go to his core item build, so that's definitely an indirect buff, and I do think he's alright right now. Next up, Unhealthy Footy asks, how about Evelynn? So she's a champion who is very snowball reliant, and can be really useless when behind. But that's the only reason. She's actually still a good jungler, but you're gonna have to know how to snowball the game with her, since you'll be building a bit of AP. And next up, Mark Kevin asks, how good do you think Jhin jungle is? Alright, so yeah, comment below on what champion you want me to talk about in the next jungle tier list, and maybe you'll be featured in a future video. Anyways, if you guys did like this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you didn't, make sure to like this video. Anyways, I am Panther Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time. Yo, you guys gotta check this shit out. Look how well this music actually fits with this clip.